I'm Sam LaPrade. Thank you so much for joining us here on Daytime. Okay, I have a question for you. Have you thought about doing renovations? And you think, where should I start? Well, we have the answer for you because Ryan Branton is here today from the Branton Construction Group. Hi, Ryan. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Okay, you are going to solve so many challenges for people today. So we want people to buckle in.
Yep.
Because I think this pandemic, a lot of people really did think they wanted to renovate their home. A lot of people, this home isn't working for us. I'm addicted to watching shows about renovations.
Okay.
So I think that sparks a lot of people to think, oh, they want to do that. And it looks really simple because it's done in an hour on a TV show.
Yeah.
But that's not the case.
Normally
so
not.
in terms of starting somewhere, the planning, the budgeting, how do we start even before we call you? What's the process there?
Yeah, so I think the first thing that people need to realize, like, first off, you need to define the scope of whatever renovation that you're doing. Like, let's use a bathroom, for example, like, so that you and your partner can get on the same page as to what it is you're renovating, what it is you want to do. Are we renovating this bathroom because it's end of life and we have to, or are we renovating it because we want some luxuries and we want to modernize it? Because those are two very different conversations to have.
Absolutely. And you know, when you think about, so it's usually kitchens and bathrooms, right? Those are the most popular.
Yeah.
So whoever's using that space the most or has
That's
the
right.
most sort of need or desire for it to be renovated probably is the one that wants to spend more money. So how does that conversation usually go from your experience?
Yeah, so I think it's important, like, by the time that I get there, that the couple would already have a budget in mind as to what they want to spend on the renovation, be it in labor costs or material costs, right? Because those can fluctuate quite a bit. But I think it's important that homeowners, before they start calling contractors, kind of like, there's always one person driving that renovation.
Exactly.
And that person kind of has a plan so that they understand what each other's goals are. If someone really wants an island tub or a certain type of tiling, maybe it's herringbone or whatever, that the partner understands that this is what I'm going for, because prices can change a lot depending on design.
Oh my heavens. So have you noticed in your experience in the last couple of years how prices have creeped up, or is it just my imagination?
It's not your imagination.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
Prices and availability have just skyrocketed, and we book out quite far, so we're able to make sure that we're kind of holding everything before we start a renovation. But that's something to be speaking to your contractor about, like that first kind of interview when you're bringing that contractor in, and say, what are your availabilities and what prices can I expect for materials? Are there any discounts? Like, do you offer any discounts? Because we have a contracting firm, so we can give some discounts on material and stuff like that. But certainly the prices and availability have gone up significantly.
So I have friends who started a renovation. So they renovated one room, and then what happens is everything else all of a sudden looks like it needs to be renovated.
It's like the while we're at it.
Right.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden you're like, okay, well, why don't we do this and this and this?
Yeah.
So it really can sort of creep up on families. And we want to make sure, I think this is the goal of today, is making sure that people understand the budget and the planning process so they don't get themselves into trouble and disappointment, right?
I think it's important that when you start inviting contractors into your home, that first initial meeting, certainly with us, I'm a contractor, I'm Ryan the contractor, but when I'm meeting with you the first time, I'm Ryan the sales guy.
Right.
And I want to sell you this renovation, this dream that you have. I want to understand your vision. The thing is, like, because we book out so far, we don't want to, like, if I start in your bathroom, you don't want me to immediately go downstairs and start, renovating your basement, for example. There's always wait times, there's always those things. So you want to make sure that Ryan, the sales guy, kind of stays away from the renovation side once we start renovating, because while you're at it, they can add a lot. And certainly there's two times when you really don't want a contractor like the sales guy back, which is, one is when something's gone wrong or you want to change your mind. You really don't want to change your mind. Like, you've just tiled the bathroom, like, oh, I don't like the tile, can we change it? Sure. No problem.
Right.
but it's costs.
Yeah. It's the cost, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So really understanding your vision. Are you really looking for people as well, Ryan, to come up with ideas they've pulled from magazines or from other ideas? Does that help you when
really
they're
does.
coming? Yeah, when they're meeting with you.
It really does. Like, there's two types of renovations that we do. Some people go out and they hire a designer, and the designer sends me a package and build this, no problem. But for the most part, like homeowners, they see things on Pinterest or wherever, and they say, you know, we want this or we want that. But the more complicated design, if we're talking about that bathroom again, like if you see something fancy on Pinterest, so have like the tilers, and they're going to charge you for that extra time because it's going to take longer to do herringbone. Herringbone is very expensive to do, for example, so it costs more. But that way, before we get too far down the quoting process, if I know that you want herringbone, I can say, hey, well, this adds a lot to a bathtub to do a subway tile and a herringbone or something like that.
Right.
So you know right away.
Well, I have learned a lot from you today. I probably needed you about 10 years ago, right, before today, but learned a lot from you today, and I know our viewers today on Daytime have as well. Really appreciate your time.
No problem.
Ryan Branton joining us today from Branton Construction, sharing about the planning and the budgeting, all of those pieces that go into any renovation that you may have. You probably have a dream renovation. After this, you might look at your kitchen and think, hey, I should call Ryan, I should say. Thank you so much for spending time with us today on Daytime. We're going to come back, wrap up our show today. I know you'll want to be here. I'm Sam LaPrade. Stay with us, everyone.